Hello everyone, so this is the OSMO Action 3. There are a lot of reports that this has a focus issue. It cannot focus well even at the minimum distance of 30 centimeters. Even far beyond that, everything looks blurry or even it's like a dreamy video. So, I was asked by DJI support team to do a couple of tests for this unit. They are saying that probably the MicroSD card is the issue in this video. So we are using the Sandisk to do 1080p video. And they are suggesting that we use the Sandisk Extreme Pro. So I looked online on all of the respective transfer speed, both read and write speed of all of this SD card, so we will know if there would be a difference for each microSD card on how the Action 3 produces the video. Okay, with the Sandisk Extreme Pro, it has a transfer speed of up to 170 megabits per second. If I'm not mistaken, it is megabit or megabyte. This is the Sandisk Extreme Pro, and this is the recommended microSD card by DJI. This is what I am using right now. This is the Sandisk MicroSD XC for the Nintendo Switch. Its maximum read speed is up to 100 megabit per second, and its write speed is up to 90 megabit per second. So there is a big difference between the Extreme Pro and the Sandisk. Now, we will just to verify if all of our results later on is correct. Also, we will be using a very slow microSD card here. This is the Sandisk Ultra microSD XC. Although it has a fast read speed of up to 120 megabit per second, but the write speed is only up to 10 megabit per second. So this is quite low. It will work on your 1080p video. I tried it before, but I haven't tried it on 4K, so most likely this will have an error if we use it for 4K. The rest, we will try it in 4K and in 1080p, so we can have a gauge on how it looks, and we'll try to see later on which is which, and if really the Sandisk Extreme Pro is needed to fix that blurry video. I tell you, I have a lot of videos already, and really the problem with the blurriness is quite seen, especially in low light situations. And meanwhile, some people are saying that they haven't got this focus issue. We are not blaming anyone here, but we just want to know if really the culprit is the microSD card. Just to ensure that everything will be producing the same results, we will be using a bright light directly on the subjects that will be videoed, so that everything will be the same except these microSD cards. So let's do it, and let's do this test. So this is the Sandisk Extreme Pro, and this is shot in 4K 30 frames per second, and ultra-wide lens. No, ultra-wide field of view, not lens. So this is how it looks. Okay, we're trying to move. Okay, my length from the cam is at around, okay, let's measure around, this is 30 centimeters. So okay, this is how it looks. Let's go at around 50, just to put some gauge. Okay, so this is 50 centimeters from the lens. Okay, let's move a bit. Okay, so that's it for 4K for the Sandisk at ultra wide field of view. So this time you will be using the Sandisk for the Nintendo Switch with a write speed of 100 and 90, I don't know, 100 read speed and 90 write speed. We are around, Okay, 30 centimeters away, 4K 30 frames per second. This is how it looks for the Sandisk MicroSD XC Nintendo Switch. We will go now for at 20 centimeters. Okay, this is at the ultra wide field of view and at 4K 30 frames per second. Okay, so we will go further away from the lens. We will be going at around 50. Okay, so this is how far it is, and yeah, hopefully you can see a difference later on when we do the edit. So this is a Sandisk MicroSD XC for the 4K 30 frames per second. So hello everyone, I was planning to use different types of microSD card, but the OSMO Action 3 is unable to read all of these cards. There are a lot of files here that are very important to me, so I'm not able to do a formatting. So we'll just continue. I'm using a Sandisk Ultra. This is a bit slow, and I'm not sure if it would have an error later on. But we will proceed with the video at 20 centimeters. This is how it looks. Okay, my face. Okay, so just that we have a reference to check later when we do the edit. Okay, this is 30 centimeters away from the camera, so this is how it looks. Okay, now 50 centimeters away, this will be it. Okay, so this is how far I could go, 50 centimeters, and yeah, we are at 4K 30 frames per second. So now this is wide, and we're at 30 centimeters away from the lens, moving around. Hopefully no problem there. So that's it, 30 centimeters at 4K 30 frames per second at wide FOV. Now this is wide for the Sandisk MicroSD XC Nintendo Switch, and we're at 4K 30 frames per second. We will be going at around 20 centimeters away from the camera, and that is how it looks. Now we will go at 30 centimeters. Okay, this is how it looks also, and the 50. Okay, so 50 centimeters. Okay, so this is how it looks. So that's how it looks. Now this is standard D-warp, 4K 30 frames per second, 30 centimeters away from the lens. Okay, this is I think the problematic field of view. So we will go a bit far at around 50 centimeters. Okay, let's move. So hopefully I am okay for this video. Now we will go at around 20 centimeters. Okay, so this is how close it is, because people usually use their cam at this range, especially if you're doing handheld. So 20 centimeters. Okay, with Sandisk Extreme Pro. So now this is standard D-warp for the 4K 30 frames per second of the Sandisk MicroSD XC Nintendo Switch. What a tongue twister there. So let's go for 20 centimeters. This is how it looks. Okay. 30 centimeters. Okay, this is how it looks. And at 50 centimeters. So this is how it looks for the wide of the Sandisk MicroSD XC Nintendo Switch. So, sorry, I'm reading the text, which I always look at the right of my cam. So now this is 30 centimeters away, ultra wide field of view, and at 1080p 30 frames per second for the Sandisk Extreme Pro. Okay, so this is how far it is. Hopefully it's not as soft as the previous one. Okay, this time we will go 20 centimeters. So this is how it is, 20 centimeters. Okay, now we will go further for 50 centimeters away. There you go. So 50 centimeters. So this is how far I can go from the lens. Okay, so that's for the Extreme Sandisk Pro. So now this is 1080p 30 frames per second of the Sandisk for the Nintendo Switch. Okay, at 20 centimeters. So at 20 centimeters, and that is how it looks at 30 and at 50. So that's how far it is. Okay, that is the 1080p footages for the Sandisk for the Nintendo Switch. Now we are still using the Sandisk Ultra. We are at wide FOV at 1080p frames, 30 frames per second. This is at 20 centimeters away from the lens, and this is 30 centimeters away from the lens. And now this is 50 centimeters away from the lens. Okay, this is at ultra wide. Sorry. There are a lot of videos. I was mixing it up. This is ultra wide at 1080p 30 frames per second. And to further clarify, we will not do the other field of view, just to go fasten up this test. And yes, this is how it looks with the Sandisk Ultra. So this is the Sandisk Extreme Pro. This is the ideal MicroSD card. We are at 4K 30 frames per second at ultra wide field of view, 50 centimeters away from those boxes. So that is how it looks in the Sandisk Extreme Pro. Okay, now we are using the Sandisk for the Nintendo Switch, 50 centimeters away from the subject at ultra wide field of view. Resolution is 4K 30 frames per second. So that is how it is. This is our default microSD card for the OSMO Action. Okay, so this is the Sandisk Ultra 4K 30 frames per second. We are 50 centimeters away from the boxes, so we can give a good headroom for the OSMO Action and the boxes. Okay, this is the at ultra wide. That is how it looks. So now this is the Sandisk Extreme Pro 4K 30 frames per second at wide FOV. Okay, 50 centimeters away from those boxes. Okay, so that's how it looks. Now this is wide at 4K 30 frames per second. This is the wide FOV 4K 30 frames per second of the Sandisk Ultra. Okay, so 4K 30 frames per second. Now this is the standard D-Warp, 50 centimeters for the Sandisk Extreme Pro. Okay, so that is the boxes. That is how it looks. Now this is at standard D-Warp for the 4K 30 frames per second Sandisk microSD card for the Nintendo Switch. Now this is standard D-Warp 4K 30 frames per second of the Sandisk Ultra. That is how it looks, 50 centimeters away from those boxes. Just to give us comparison, I also put at an ATP 30 frames per second of the Sandisk Extreme Pro, 50 centimeters away from the subjects. Okay. Now this is 1080p for the Sandisk for Nintendo Switch, and that is how it looks at the ultra wide lens. We have finished all of our tests for all of this micro SD cards. We used the slow one and the fast one, which is the ultra slow, and the Extreme Pro that I am using right now with this Action 3. So far, there are no big difference. The blurriness is still there. Actually, I did this test because the DJI service center want me to do further test with this unit. So we have done it, and I think there are no clear correlation between the micro SD card and the blurry video. I think it's not the problem, and hopefully they do find a way to fix this, because it doesn't look good. So hopefully they do fix this issue soon, because it's about almost 2 weeks already and I haven't found any clear fix to this issue. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you like it, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.